Hey everybody, this is herculespetix, founder, curator, docent, and gift shop employee of the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies. Today we're going to continue our scholarly examination of the Legend of Kamui. We're looking at numbers 10 through 13, and this will conclude the Island of Tsugaru storyline. Let's crack these open. Number 10, another nice painted cover by Shirato. Has nothing to do with the story, really. They never do. And nice little splash page. And this is part 1 of Nukenin hunting. Once again, we see some beautiful introductory panels of nature. God, I love this stuff. I love looking closely at it and just seeing just how scratchy the lines are. But then when you pull back, it just works. It's so effective. So I guess it's a squid spawning season. And when they're done, I guess they're so tired that they float to the surface. So all the seagulls are freaking out, having a buffet, all-you-can-eat buffet. But then the villagers show up. And they want to get the squids too, so they got to fight off the seagulls. We see the children of Hanbei and Tsugaru fishing with Kamui. They're grabbing as many squid as they can. The little one of the little kids, Genta, says, "I want to try." And he accidentally gets a seagull and puts him on the boat. And everyone's laughing at him. He's yelling at the seagulls. Then we watch back at the village how they prepare these squid. Another little educational couple of pages. Kamui takes all the ink sacs out of all the squids and extracts all the ink and pours it into this bottle. He takes Sayaka down to the shore and shows her what happens when you pour this ink into the water. It looks like it kills these fish. And then all of a sudden this giant tentacle comes out of nowhere, grabs Kamui's foot, and then more tentacles grab the rest of him. And we see this freakishly huge squid. And he's got Kamui. And he says, "Sayaka, get back." And as she's screaming, "Kamui," she wakes up. It was just a nightmare. So meanwhile, back at the Watarishu boat, the shark hunters, their leader, Fudo, rose up and says, "Hey, I need Kamui. You guys do the shark hunting today. We got a little mission." So Kamui jumps on the boat and they head off. They're really near the shore, so Sayaka kind of runs out and says, "You should go out today. I had a horrible dream. I'm worried about you." He reassures her and says, "It's just a dream. I'll be fine." We see Hanbei. He's still injured. So when they're farther out to sea, Fudo tells Kamui that there's a Nukenin, an apostate ninja, just like they are. He's in the area and he's asking for help. So they're going to help this guy because he's in the same boat they are. He's being hunted by loyal ninjas, the Jonin as they're known. And once again, this nice leisurely pace just takes a whole page, just showing them rowing the boat and watching fish eat other fish. Fudo lights a flare, and when he looks in the distance at this island, he sees a smoke signals rise. That's their contact. This beautiful just drawing here. It's great stuff. So they climb up the cliff so they can meet this guy, help him out. Meanwhile, at the top of the cliff, we see this ninja, the one who contacted Fudo. And he's running for his life from the Jonin. And he's fighting him off. some great action scenes once again. And then even more Jonin come out. And this guy's like, fuck. But he continues to fight valiantly. And they injure him. And he's running off, hobbling off to this cliff. And they're like, fool, it's a dead end. Give up now. And he looks down at the cliff. And then he just falls. And one of them says, finish him. And this guy is going to do just that with the sword. And then out of nowhere, this hatchet hits him in the chin. And when the apostate ninja looks up, it's Kamui and Fudo to the rescue. So they take on all these guys. And then we get even more great action. Kamui uses his Kawarimi trick on them again. Tricks them into thinking he's dead, which is really just a log. And he just goes to town on these guys. He's just hacking and slashing through them. He's like Butcher Pete. And of course, Fudo's fighting to helping out. So the remaining ninjas order a retreat. And Kamui chases after them. And Fudo's like, Kamui, don't. What are you doing? But Kamui does. And he hunts them all down. Here he uses the falling technique, Izuna Atoshi. So it's a fighting technique just for falling out of a tree, I guess. I just love that panel for some reason, that little silhouette. It's like a panel from Tarzan or something. So Kamui kills them all. They take the corpses, put them on their boat, and when they're out to sea, they throw all the bodies into the ocean. And all these sharks show up, and they're just chowing down. Fudo asks Kamui, why did you go after them? And Kamui says, they saw my technique. They couldn't be allowed to live. And so that Nukenin that they went to rescue, he's pretty wounded. Kamui's changing his bandages. And then he gets lost in thought thinking about Sayaka because the shell she gave him broke during the fight. And then that Nukenin, he pushes Kamui into the shark-infested waters. So apparently he was a plant. But man, what a cliffhanger. We got a letter page. And now on to number 11. Find out what happens. Another painting by Shirato. Another title page. So as Kamui falls in the water, he takes his ninja chain and yanks the Nukenin, the fake Nukenin, I'll just call him the ninja. He pulls the ninja into the water after him. They both sink into the ocean. And the sharks come near. Kamui slashes this guy's throat and pushes him towards the sharks, hoping it'll distract them. And look at this. One of the sharks just chomps him in half. His arm is floating off. Here his leg is floating off. He's just chowing down on him. But I guess it wasn't enough because the other sharks are coming at Kamui now. And it looks like Kamui's using this weird technique with a sword where he's almost like tapping them on the nose, just like kind of hurting them. And then he sticks two knives into one of them. And I don't know how he knows that the shark was heading to the surface. Maybe when sharks are injured, that's a natural reaction. But he basically rides them like an express elevator to the surface. And Fudo's ready with a spear. And he throws it, spears the shark, but it almost hits Kamui. And Fudo, is an expert shark hunter. He knew that Kamui was on the back of the shark. So it's kind of weird. The shark and Kamui go back into the water. And Fudo sees all this blood and he sees limbs. And he says, Kamui? And there's still sharks coming after Kamui, other sharks. So he pours the ink that he got from the squids earlier into the water as a smoke screen. Man, look at this shark coming at him. That's monstrous. These shark scenes, I gotta say, like, just so exciting. Like, just, it seems like Shiratu really goes to town when he's doing man versus nature. Like, some of the best scenes in here are those kind of primal battles. So Kamui, being all crafty, he finds the spear that fell at the bottom of the ocean, and he kills this other shark, tricks him into wedging in between these rocks here. And then all the other sharks kind of attack the bloody dead shark. And Kamui's safe for a second, and he sees this turtle floating by, a giant sea turtle. Meanwhile, Fudo's just waiting for something to hit the surface. And the turtle, it's the turtle. And he says, just a turtle. And then as we see, though, Kamui is holding onto the bottom of the turtle with a little reed so he can breathe to get safely away, because he knows something's up with Fudo. So he makes it all the way to the shore, and the only thought in his mind is Sayaka. I know I always point this out, but look at those waves. That is so good, such good technique. I love this too, just the seagulls filling the sky. That's good stuff. More of that scratchy goodness. So Sayaka makes it to the village, and he sees the Hanbei household, and notice how dark it is there. We've never seen it drawn like that. And he runs, opens the door, and they're all dead, the whole family. Even the little kids are dead. And look how it's shaded here. We've never really seen this kind of dark shading in the comic. It really is effective as far as like the power of this moment and the horror of it. But that's really cool too, how it foreshadows, you know, no pun intended, the shadowiness foreshadows what's going to happen. Something doesn't look right with the house. And of course, when he sees Sayaka, he's heartbroken. But then Suguru is still alive, just barely. And she says, in the water, poison. And she dies. She gives up the ghost. And Kamui thinks to himself, so it ends. He goes out to this rock outcropping near the ocean, practices his new technique, the whole wave thing, spearing a fish and jumping out of the wave's way. I don't quite understand what the use of it is, unless a wave is coming at you and you need to kill a fish. I don't see how it applies to other situations, but even the lettering is really nice in this. I love these sound effects letters. I think that's all Stan Sakai. And then at the last panel says, the sun and the moon may gaze upon each other, but for all eternity, they will never hold each other's hands. And although Sayaka held out her love to touch the sun, it could never be. So, of course, it's to be continued. It better be. So now we're up to number 12. And another nice painting. And so now we're at Kasumi Kazushi, Part 1. Kuzushi. More of these establishing shots, just quiet, you know, beautifully drawn. Just like a movie, you know, just takes his time. This one really takes his time because it has this whole like almost nature documentary like sequence that is like half the book. And I love this kind of stuff. I could read hundreds of pages of this. We see a hawk and he's trailing this prey, this other bird, and he's right in his tail. and the prey dives into a bush, and the hawk pulls up. I guess hawks can't, they're worried about going into bushes. So he's safe for a little while. Meanwhile, we see this wolf or a fox. I don't know if there's wolves in Japan. Let's call him a wolf. We see this wolf watching intently. Meanwhile, we see a butterfly land in a flower. This lizard comes out of nowhere and eats the butterfly. Then the prey, the bird, even though he was about to be eaten, he's like, well, I still got to eat. And so he leaves his cover to run after the lizard. The hawk notices high up in the sky and turns around and comes after him again. I love the way he draws his face, like you can, and his body language, like you can see the panic on him. He's just like, feet don't fail me now. Gotta get out of here, whoa. And so this prey, he gets cornered. And the narrator tells us, though, on occasion, the prey will turn and strike out in desperate counterattack. It may seem hopeless, but there's a 1 in a million chance. So this other bird actually pecks the hawk's eye out. He gets a good one in, and they start thrashing around. And of course, the hawk would win. They're way better fighters, they're stronger birds. But out of nowhere, that wolf pops up and jumps right on the hawk and eats him. So the bird got away. Meanwhile, we're back. Camera slowly zooms in. This is the Watarishu ship, the shark hunters. Fudo is back with them. He tells them that the Nukenin was a fraud and that Kamui is dead. Sorry about that. He says that they can't return to the island because they'll all be killed. So he says, come on, we must move quickly. We got to get out of here before those Jonin catch up to us. So they set sail, and all of a sudden they see a kite flying towards them, getting closer and closer, a really big kite. And Fudo mentions that, it's right around here where I lost Kamui, where all the sharks like to hunt. And as the kite gets really close, Fudo picks up a bow and arrow with a flaming head and an arrowhead, and he shoots this casket of gunpowder. Man, how's that for a 2-page spread? Look at that. That is in Sensurround and IMAX. That's pretty impressive. Waboom. Indeed. And Fudo jumps up and grabs the kite, and it pulls him away. And he's laughing at his former chums, who are now chum for the sharks. And the sharks show up, and they just start chowing down. These poor fuckers, they're screwed. They realize that Fudo betrayed them. Man, look at that. These poor bastards. The sharks finally get their revenge on these guys. And as he's flying away, he says, fools, this is the fate of all those who defy our code. So this whole time he was undercover. He was a Jonin who joined these apostate ninjas, and he was their leader. But the whole time he was just waiting for his moment to strike. Because you can never leave a ninja clan once you're joined. It's like the mafia. So the other ninja reels in the kite. Or another ninja, I should say. And he says, make your report. And Fudo says, none of the new Kennen are left alive, sir. And Kamui is dead. And he keeps asking him questions. And Fudo's kind of like, what's up here? And he looks around. He sees all these other ninjas, like in the trees, under bushes, on the shore. They're all dead. And he's like, you. And then this guy says, sometimes the predator becomes the prey. So that whole nature documentary intro, it was all tying in, kind of foreshadowing the theme of this. That's why I spent so many pages, I think, showing us that. And he says, wait, who are you? It can't be. And the guy falls over. It turns out he was just propped up. He was dead. And Kamui was throwing his voice. And Kamui says, as I suspected, you were the spy. And he's just like, I've sworn never to kill except to defend my own life, but I'm killing you. You're so dead. And as we end the issue, they're about to square off for this life and death battle. So now we got number 13, the last part of the island of Sugaru. And part 2 of Kasumi Kuzushi. God, that could totally be a poster or a t-shirt design for Kamui. That's a pretty great action pose. So they begin their fight. And this is some really fun, exciting shit, as you can see. Fudo's using his whip a lot. Seems to be his preferred weapon. And we find out that not only did he kill, the Hanbei's family, but he also killed all these other ninjas, because Kamui says, it was you on Hanbei's roof who attacked me in Sugaru. You were the ninja. And he's like, yep. And he says, you killed all those other ninjas from Edo. And that's how bad Fudo is. He's just like, I couldn't stand by and see such a prize as you stolen from me by those Edo scum. So he even killed his fellow ninjas just for some more glory, I guess. So he's a bad ninja. And ninjas aren't very good in the first place. Kamui even says, you really are a bastard. And they resume their fighting. And we get more pages of crazy, exciting ninja action. And this part I'm a little confused about. Sorry to sound dense. But Kamui chops his arms off. And then, all of a sudden, I don't know if this is a flashback, but he does that wave thing again. His technique. A wave is coming at him. He spears a fish. And he avoids the wave. And then, so maybe that is a flashback. But then, Fudo is back up on his feet with both of his arms. So maybe he used that Kawarimi or whatever it's called, the ninja art of illusion, and tricked Kamui into thinking that he chopped his arms off. But I'm not quite sure. And then it appears that Kamui severs his arms again. He says, this is Kasumi Kuzushi. I guess that's his new fighting style that he developed with using the ocean and the waves. And I think this is real. Now, his arms really are cut off. It's not the ninja illusion. And his eye even pops out. So he's like saying, kill me, please let me die. And Kamui's like, no way. You're going to have a nice slow death. He takes him out on the boat with the kites is flying behind, and he's being pulled in the water right into the area where the sharks are. The whole time he's screaming, damn you, Kamui. And then the sharks show up. And he keeps pulling him up out of the shark's way, basically to torture him. Look at all these sharks. Some crazy business going on here. And then the sharks start, bit by bit, start chomping away on him. And every now and then, Kamui pulls them out so he can, his torture will be extended. What a way to go. He yells out, "Feel their pain, Fudo." Talking about Hanbai and his family. And God, look at him. He's worn down to a nub. He's still alive, though. And finally, he's ripped to shreds. There we see his head floating with blood trailing behind it. And Kamui sails off. I promised I wouldn't talk about this too much, guys, but just again, the way he draws oceans just kill me. So amazing. When dawn comes, the night fades away, weeping tears of light. I too must go somewhere far, far away. So Kamui's sailing on to another chapter of his life, which we'll read about next issue. Really great sky there too, with the scratchy pen. And then he has this little epilogue, almost after he's shown us so much horror and betrayal and gruesome sorrow. It's almost like he feels like he has to give us a little happy little coda to the story. And we see that, no matter how terrible things are for Kamui, life goes on. And we see the villagers, the fishermen, and it's another big mullet day. They got the giant net, and they're going to catch some mullet fish. And everyone's happy, and it's a successful expedition. They get all these fish. And that's the end. Just see them, everyone's smiling. So, kind of an interesting little coda to this really grim story. We have a little letter from the translator at the end, and talking about the themes of Kamui. And that's it for the first 13 issues of Kamui, which encompass the island of Tsugaru. Hope you guys enjoyed looking at these. I'm really digging these comics. I think I told you I haven't read them since I was a teenager, maybe my early 20s, and they're really good. But next episode, we'll be starting a whole new story, so I'm excited about that. I can't wait to read it. Of course, I'm going to have to wait, though, just like you are going to have to wait to watch it. So thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time here at the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies.